It's okay. Well, believe me, you will by the time we get there. Okay. So this is Maureen. Maureen, do you mind saying to people how old you are?
35 years old.
35 years old. And where would you like to start with telling us your story? What you choose.
I feel like sharing my story about being a domestic violence survivor because actually because Sri Lanka is a very shameful culture and it has been happening in many people's life, but people are very scared to talk and also they feel so ashamed. So that's the only reason I felt like I want to open it myself. It's not only I am the only one, there will be somewhere when you meet somebody, you may have a courage to say, no, you are not the only person who has gone through it. The first thing I will say, as we said, like isolation, and that's the same thing happened in my life, which I couldn't figure it out or reason it. Like first I was reasoning. First thing he told me is isolate your, do not have any contacts with any male friends. And none of the male friends I had was not even in the same country. And also everybody whom I had, they were calling me sister or akka or dada in Swahili. So it means very brotherly, sisterly relationship. But still the guy was like, I know you are so nice girl, you will never do a mistake, but these guys are evil, you never. So in a way I believed it and I deleted all the contact from all the male friends. Then it came to all the female friends, then family, and there was a time it came, I even couldn't question for anything. I was simply following what he was telling me. And it's and he took over the control of whole being of myself, like clothes, how to put the hair, and I was not allowed to go to the balcony. I was not allowed to answer the phone calls, talk to anybody, and he was trying to make me like an Egyptian mummy. I was and at that moment, honestly, I didn't even I lost my whole being of who I am, and even I didn't have that reasoning myself or what's going on, totally all my emotions were shut down and totally myself I didn't know who I was. And that emotional abuse is something, it is more sadder part than anything else, because when physical abuse started, and because of that I was able to get my divorce, and that's the only thing in Canada it was counted, it's okay to get divorced. But the emotional part was the one for me personally. I will say, even if the physical could have not happened, somebody could have reached out to rescue me out. But at that moment, and also it's totally isolated, so even I didn't have a clue to share to anybody, and nobody didn't even know anything. So that is kind of a place I think we should be be aware, because physical is because I have met some women with the bruises, so it's so easy for me nowadays to find out whether they are abused or not. So even any parts of the body, just greenish color or any color, just let the bell ring and see, okay, is there anything going on? So because there are a massive Sri Lankan community in Canada, and in Canada one of the physical abuse is happening a lot by Sri Lankan men there, and it's and the woman, even though Canadian government has so much support, the police is there to help us, but still the Sri Lankan women, they are so scared even to tell to anybody, they are just keeping it inside. So it's very sad part of, so after the physical part only I was able to, but one thing, other sad part is the church does not accept the divorced woman. They only say you can only be divorced only if you are, if there is adultery involved, and it is not accepted, and that's very sad part, because as Christian, because if somebody is non-Christian, They are welcoming with the open arms. Come, we are here for you. But somebody is a Christian, they are stuck, they don't know where to go after being a Christian. So that part, I don't know where even you all have to pray for that. Like when a Christian makes a mistake or something happens to the Christian, where are they going to go? How are we going to support them, love them? Because we preach something about love, but in real life, it's very hard to see. It's almost like you are divorced, they cannot give us any ministry, they cannot give us, even in Canada, remarriage is almost okay, but in Sri Lanka, even you cannot think about remarrying to somebody, and it's like holy marriage, and it's like you cannot. So even the society, it's somehow, it's just making us like, you are not worthy to be with us. So like where we stand, because most of the, because things happen in Canada, so I came in 2012, just stayed for some, like 2 weeks because I couldn't stay for long. And this is the first time I'm staying in Sri Lanka, almost 6 months. But when people know that I'm divorced, I have seen people just withdraw from me. And that's really a sad part. So I'm like, okay, what, you know? So in a way, you know, like my capacity and all what I have done before being divorced and now being divorced, like why can't I do the same things? What's like, what did I do wrong? But you know, so that is one challenge. And the other challenge, when I was going through the process, the whole family, because it was big shame for the family, so almost everybody kind of know come. So some of the it's mainly from the woman, how I got, it's mostly from the family. The responses I got from them is, one thing is, I am living with your so and so all these years, and what is your problem? And your so and so is beating me every day. Did I leave him? And what kind of woman you are? If a woman is good, a man will not never do anything harm. You are so much educated, so you don't know how to submit yourself to your husband. And how can a woman can live alone without a man? So these are the kind of society was kind of scaring me, rather than here we are, no problem, we are here to help you. So that was, and most of it came from women. There was not a woman to kind of say, it's okay, you know. And one thing, a biggest challenge, because after that I started to move with white people a lot, like all my, because I isolated myself from the Sri Lankans because I really want to move forward, and they encouraged me, like somebody kind of who made a big change, and you know, who are not put my standard with what other people are doing, and it was, you know, continuously a great encouragement from, you know, like they didn't just let me down. So that is one thing, and I was like, I wish same thing our own people, our own family can do it, like just lift me up. But I'm thankful to God, at least there were some people kind of, you know, and I have seen like, because my story is not a sad story, because I really love the word. All those time I have done speeches, I have been telling that I'm a domestic violence victim, but this survivor made me like, wow, I'm a domestic violence survivor, and that's really a great, you know, it's really how, like, you know, and I will say I'm a, you know, survivor, because after my divorce, I have done so many things. I have traveled a lot, and I have already, before that I traveled certain country, now I have finished like 15 countries I have traveled. I have gone on holidays on my own. There's no girls, no man, no. I went on my own holidays, stayed on the beach for a week and came back. I have gone, I have done a mission work, and it's almost, I went through a organization, but South Sudan, nobody didn't want to go, so I went alone. So I have done so many things even alone, and it's like, there's no, like, if there's no man is there, because we have a culture to say, oh, without a man you cannot do, oh, you need a man to do. And that I will say is not true. If we want to, our identity is so important in our life, that who we are as the children of God. So for me, I kind of rediscovered myself through that, who I am, what I can do, all these things. So it was really kind of really a survivor story with all what I have gone through, but I will say, woman can live no matter what hard it is. That is simply my story.
Yeah, I had no idea she was going to say all of that. I feel like she should be a teacher or something. Questions?
What was life like before you got married?
I was abused at the thing. One thing I will say is, my dad was an emotionally abuser. So when my ex-husband told me, first thing he told me, your English is so bad, you cannot, you are nothing. And that reminded me of my dad. So it's almost like the cycle came back to me. And there was a time I said, did I get married to my dad? That was my first thing. So then after coming out, I did, on my own, I researched and said abuse is a cycle. So until I break the cycle, I won't say the domestic violence was the only abuse I got in my life, because my abuse started at the age of 8. So it has been, but I haven't dealt with it. So after the divorce only, I realized, oh my God, it's not this problem, it just, and especially even the sexual abuse I went through at the age of 8, I realized I went to work in Kenya for an abused home. Being in that home only, I realized how I went to help them, but at the end, I think I was the oldest person who was like,